Welcome to the Motoring Podcast, your weekly discussion of motoring news. This is episode 684 on Tuesday, the 5th of May, 2026. Hello, I'm Alan.
Hello, I'm Andrew. And this week you'll hear how some brands are off to Spain for their duty-free. In your new car news, you will get to say goodbye to one car, even though you hardly knew it at all. And in points of interest, you'll be told how you can drive around Japan when in the Midlands. But first, we have a smidgen of follow-up. Last week, I started the show with follow-up that the consumer group was challenging the Financial Conduct Authority's ruling on how it is decided it will give out money to those who have been affected by the car finance mis-selling that was found in just to remind everyone, the courts.
By give out money, you mean recompense?
Yes, compensation, sorry. As I said in the show, the deadline was the day that I was recording, the 27th, I think it was, 27th of April. On that day, though, Mercedes joined two other car finance companies to appeal as well against the ruling. So you have someone appealing from the consumer side of things, and you have three organizations appealing from the finance. These are CA Auto Finance, Mercedes-Benz Financial Services, and Volkswagen Financial Services.
And the really annoying thing is that those of us who have claims in and will probably receive something, but not related to any of these companies, we also have to wait.
Yeah.
Everyone waits.
Here's the thing. We don't know what those finance companies are appealing against. Two of them have declined to comment at all. And Volkswagen has said, and I'm quoting here from a MoneySavingExpert article, which will be linked in the show notes. Volkswagen had told us it had identified issues that require independent clarification from the courts, but they wouldn't go into more detail than that. To remind everyone, again, these companies broke the UK law, which is why compensation is due to people.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we move on to new news, Alan?
Yes. It turns out, and who would have thought it, that forcing the closure of one of the world's most important shipping lanes can have knock-on effects.
Really?
Really. Oh. I don't know who would have guessed this, not in the US government.
Knock me down with a feather.
Quite. Well, according to CBT News, Toyota's supply chain strain has intensified as Iran conflict disrupts materials flow. This is Toyota going back and pointing out that, obviously, a restriction the amount of oil and oil-based products getting out of the Arabian Gulf is starting to have a knock-on effect. And it's having knock-on effects from a couple of sides. On one hand, there's the chance that suppliers might not be able to deliver things on time just because there are no raw materials of plastics to make injection molding parts and all of that kind of stuff. And there might not be enough other solvents, gases, all of these kind of things to enable the manufacture of more complex parts, things like printed circuit boards. On the other hand, then obviously the increase in oil prices and thus fuel prices around the world probably mean that fewer people will be running out and trying to buy cars. But even if they go off and try to buy the electric cars, they can't buy the electric cars because the electric cars still need some of the oil products in order to make the components of the electric cars. They're probably going to make fewer cars.
Are you trying to tell me, Alan, that everything is interconnected in some way?
You know, it's this amazing thing, Andrew. There are impacts.
Oh, wow. Because I thought you could just live in your little bubble and talk about or be fixated on your little aspect, and as long as that was all right, everything was all right.
Yes, well, it turns out things happen outside a ballroom.
Secure or otherwise.
Secure or otherwise. That people actually do stuff and make stuff and contribute to the way the world works. And to do that, they actually need materials. And if the world's largest suppliers of those materials are all trapped in a smallish area of water, it's a little tricky for everybody to get on with their lives.
Mm.
Toyota Gozai has factored some of this instability into its forecasts down the road, and it's anticipating production to fall by about 200,000 vehicles compared to their original plans. Denso likewise projected an operating profit of 500 billion yen for the fiscal year ending March 2027, again falling short of previous analyst expectations. although analysts do tend to use a proctologist with a torch whenever they're finding their expectations. Toyota Bushoku, again, they make seats and stuff. They need resin-based materials, glues, all these kinds of things. And again, they're going to have a knock-on effect too. It's going to be things like switches and seats that cause some of these shortages in the near to medium term anyway. Again, all we can do is keep an eye on it, watch, and hope that saner minds prevail.
On top of certain governments suddenly getting an education in this, I think there's an awful lot of people, particularly in the automotive world, who've been very loud and talking about things, who are going to get a massive education on how interconnected things are and how difficult life is going to be.
Are you talking in the sort of motoring commentary world?
Yes, the experts out there who talk about...
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
We deliberately, you'll notice, everyone who's listening, that we haven't gone for the new car registrations for April. We've deliberately not done that because they only came out this morning on the day of recording, and we want more time, one, to digest it, and two, to see what stupid nonsense people are coming out with. And honestly, this month, they are really topping themselves in stupidity. We'll have to come out with actually, the reality is this next week as well.
I don't want to do a sort of waving my bits about thing, but do remember some of us, maybe who aren't full-time motoring commentators, do have degrees in manufacturing-related things, have worked in manufacturing-related jobs, have also done lots of consultancy for many different types of companies all around the world. And I'm not sure that people who have spent their life sitting in Hammersmith, occasionally driving cars, necessarily do.
100%. I am going to move us on, and we're going to talk about AUDI, which is the Chinese-only wing of Audi. They have had to find themselves a new CEO because Ferman Sonaria has left to become the chief technical officer for Lamborghini. Quite what the chief technical officer does in Lamborghini, I'm not quite sure.
It makes the doors. It's the doors.
However, he is going to be replaced by Fred Schulze, who is currently the plant manager at Neckarsulm. The Audi in China is an Audi SAIC joint venture project.
I think in as much as sort of modern German cars with slightly aggressive grills go, it's as attractive as you'll find a modern German car with an aggressive grille.
But we'll never see it because it's only for China.
No, because somebody photographed one and sent me pictures in Europe, and it didn't look bad.
I mean, the grille
looks
good.
Fine.
It looked
great.
The grille looks fine.
But the whole vehicle looked kind of, I mean, it was half on the curb, but it looked good.
But it looks like a Chinese SUV. No.
Sorry, that was the estate car one, which is already out. Not this concept rendering of an Audi E7X. The E7X is kind of, it looks like a lumpy generic Chinese SUV with a big grille put on it.
I mean, I don't mind the grille thing, to be honest, but I mean, obviously I object to the complete surrounding of light, but it's so bland, the rest of it.
Yeah. But the estate car one, I'm sorry, there's so many models of so many things these days, you just can't keep on top of it.
They're not selling either.
Yeah, I know. No, they're not.
I mean, they're offering enormous discounts.
Yeah, as I say, they look good, but you're absolutely right. They are not actually selling in China.
Would you like to take us on, though, to open up the box that is, or go into the corner that is, oh no, are you telling me something connected to the internet is not secure?
The Black Hat Asia conference has taken place recently. If you don't know what the Black Hat conferences are about, they are about hacking things and testing security of electronic things and exposing vulnerabilities, and there's a whole competition about it when you're there. But lots of people do stuff and then, obviously in an ethical fashion, and then explain what they've done to others in a sort of general way so that they can be aware of it, and so that hopefully the same mistakes aren't repeated time after time after time. I say hopefully. Well, except they are. Yes, exactly. Tech companies. The work delivered by a guy called Hetian Shi. He is a hardware and IoT security researcher at China's Tsinghua University. What they discovered was that if you have a set of devices and you kind of rent the back-end infrastructure and just say, well, yeah, we'll roll the same stuff out multiple times. It'll be fine. Same platform. No worries. Make it seamless. Make it easy. And sure enough, they make it seamless and easy, and you don't necessarily know that it's the same back end. The trouble is when they're doing it seamless and easy, quite often they skip the whole security bit. As a result, she has described that basically he can hack into or easily access the back end of these systems and shut off. I mean, he supposedly demonstrated at the conference that he could shut off a single charger.
Yeah, it's an EV charger he's been looking at.
EV charger on one network. But pointed out that you quite easily have just shut off all of the chargers on that network. And that causes far more of a challenge. It wasn't just that network, it was all the other ones that shared that back end. Once again, it's one of these things where sort of IT and automotive and everything all joins together. And you just think, please, people, please do incorporate some form of security, any form of security into this kind of stuff, and not stuff where basically you can have a pre-prepared script, type in a number, and then, oh, look, it's just changed status.
Yeah. We'll cut and paste our usual, please stop doing this.
Yeah.
Please get serious about this. You are going to damage your customers, you're going to damage yourselves, and the knock-on implications are far wider than that as well. So stop it.
Yeah, it's quick, it's cheap for these companies trying to build new businesses, but the challenge is that it's also terribly risky.
Yeah.
More Chinese news.
Yeah, Chinese news mixed in with some Europe. And MG has picked Spain over Hungary for new European EV factory is the title of this EV-powered article. Obviously, the Chinese car brands are looking to try and circumvent any tariffs or minimum price agreements for their cars, which is tariff in another way.
And also have entry into the little e-car market, potentially, that we discussed before.
Well, yeah, and the Made in Europe, obviously taking advantage of the Made in Europe. I discussed that last week or the week before. I can't remember. I think it was last week, on how people are waking up to how exposed the UK is. China are well ahead on that one. They've got a lot of people who've been thinking about this.
Yeah.
However, the interesting thing is that Spain was picked, not Hungary, because Hungary has done well recently in getting factories built there. However, Spain has done a cracking job of trying to attract investment into there. Obviously, they've kept VW there with the Cupra Seat making electric cars there. This is another manufacturer coming to do that. As Alan was saying before we pressed record, their logistics is amazing. They're in a great position logistically. They've got the ports, they've got the railroad, they've got the space. They're diversifying the income to Spain.
And of course, geographically, they're in a great location too, because they're right on the edge. You just get straight through the Straits of Gibraltar and you're pretty much there. Big container ports at Barcelona as well. So loads and loads of reasons really to choose Spain. It's easy to see why SAIC and MG have decided to do that. Kind of funny to have MGs built in Spain, though, whenever you think about it. No doubt there'll be some people who are really up in arms over that, and that'll somehow be worse than China.
Yeah, they won't have noticed they were made in China, that's why.
That's the way it lands. I can understand how it's ended up in this situation.
Yep, absolutely. Well, do you want to continue on that theme then?
MG and SAIC aren't the only people who are looking to cohabit with Stellantis, and also in Spain. HONGQI, and I've got to be careful how to pronounce that. HONGQI, sorry. One of China's luxury brands, and it's probably one of China's longest serving luxury brands, because they've been building very large limousines for Chinese presidents and premiers and so on for many, many, many decades. The only place I've ever seen one is actually at the Schlumpf collection in Mulhouse. They have one. They have the sort of presidential style one with the little curtains and the back windows and everything. The one that the Car Scoops article is sort of based on aesthetically. I would say the original is more successful from that point of view. HONGQI are looking to assemble again vehicles in Europe, probably at a Stellantis plant, and probably in Spain again. And supposedly it's all being run via the Leapmotor joint venture as well. Again, European production would mean that HONGQI avoids the import tariffs.
Yeah.
Minimum, so whatever.
But I think that also, that them coming over as clearly saying they're a luxury brand, that is really going to test all the claims that China is wiping the floor with Western or traditional car makers or more established car makers that we're used to over here, because I think that's where it begins to start falling apart a little bit in terms of someone spending £100,000 plus on a car. They have a certain set of requirements that doesn't necessarily involve, does my screen turn round 90 degrees or not?
Hey, you can't diss a screen turning around 90 degrees. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's fine at 25 to 30 grand.
Exactly. It's maybe a little harder at the higher end of the market still to be able to justify some of these, what we're seeing as newer brands, which isn't very fair on HONGQI, to be honest, because they're not a newer brand. But it is tricky. I have also seen, by the way, one of their more modern SUV models. I can't remember what dishwasher code it sounded like, but I've seen one in Denmark. It was imposing. It was very large. I actually thought it was American. It's big and blocky, and it was all in black.
Oh, good. So you got all the details.
Yeah. It was just sort of big and scary looking. We'll see what happens with this. We'll see what happens with, I think, the luxury end. I can see the Chinese brands are going to push it. They're going to try and move that way. I'm curious whether or not the European market there, I think your sort of BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, higher end Audi SUV customers, I think they're going to be much harder to pull away from those brands than maybe a Nissan Qashqai.
Into a JQ or something, or an Omoda.
Vauxhall Grandland buyers are going to be to pull them into, as you say, a JQ or a Moda or Chery or any of these brands. I think that it's a harder. It's going to be harder. There's going to be much more of a crowbar is needed to get people to actually sort of move away from the brands that they have aspired to for most of their lives.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to finish out the first part of the show with Recall Corner.
That is not becoming a thing, by the way.
I don't know. The way that we're
Let me
so
just
many
put
recalls,
my foot down here.
There's so many recalls we're seeing. We might need to make our own dedicated section.
Oh, no.
Audi is recalling 96,180 cars that are the e-tron Quattro and the QA e-tron worldwide because there is a potential issue with the braking, the brake pedal, which may result in, and I'm quoting on the Electrive article here, in limited functionality, which is not two words I want next to each other when someone says anything about my brake pedal. I really don't want that to happen. We did look into this because we were trying to find out if this was because somebody has had an incident.
Yes.
And whether someone was injured or things were damaged. And it turns out the wording, I think, is very telling here. And I'm going to quote, it says, however, no incidents involving property damage or personal injury linked to this issue have been reported. That is not saying it has not happened.
My other favourite here is a little further down where it says, if the screw connection does not meet the required specifications, presumably due to insufficient torque, it will be corrected. And the screw will be tightened to the correct torque. In other words, if the screw's loose, we'll do it up.
Yeah, I love how they also make clear that the customers will not incur any costs for this repair.
That was a bit. I decided I wasn't going to say that bit. Yeah.
If you have an e-tron Quattro or a QA e-tron, and it was built between the 2nd of February 2018 and the 11th of June 2024, which is a long time to not notice that the screw isn't in tight, by the way, everyone, then go get in touch with your dealer or tell your friend or colleague who has this vehicle and tell them to get in touch with the dealer if they have not already received a letter from them going, we'd love to see your car. No cost, and we've got lovely coffee here. Won't take long. Fortunately, no one's been hurt. That's the main thing.
Yeah. It could be Recall Corner, sponsored by Ford. Probably pushing it a bit.
Did you see there was an article out that said the entirety recalls that Mitsubishi have ever made in the US was still below Ford's 2025 number of recalls.
I can believe that, though.
Their entire history of recalls.
I can still and that's not number of vehicles at all, that's just number of recalls.
Yeah.
I can entirely believe that. And I can also believe that the Mitsubishi ones would be for all sorts of strange things, like a mispositioned sticker.
Mm.
Yeah, the sticker is there, it's just on upside down or something silly.
Yeah.
And they're doing it just because.
Yes.
Oh, dear. Anyway, all of which breaking news takes us to Guilt Minute, the quick break in the show where we ask for a tad of financial support to keep the lights on and the hosting running. If you feel that the Motoring Podcast worth a small consideration every month, then you can become a patron. Different levels of patron include different levels of commitment from us to you, including being able to watch the show recorded live. We also have a small range of merchandise in our spring store, from stickers to mugs and t-shirts. If you don't have any spare cash, we do completely understand, then you can help us by following for free from a podcast player to receive every show as they're released, and by liking and rating the show, whatever way your podcast supplier lets you. If you've done all of that, and many of you do, so thank you very much, then the last thing you can do is to recommend us to your friends or colleagues.
Thank you all. You are lovely.
Yes. Have I recorded the show since we did the live stream?
No.
Thank you, everyone, for that. Thank you for all your kind comments. I'm sure Andrew said that last week, but I just wanted to make sure I said it as well.
Yes, it's become very clear that my colleague hasn't bothered to listen to my work from last week.
I didn't listen to last week's news show. I have listened to the special edition that was out, though.
Yes.
On the BYD Sea Lion DMC.
I.
Dash I. Yeah, and thank you for the kind words about that too. That was it was a pleasant jolly, and it was also a pleasure to record as well.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Well, do you want to take us into new car news then?
Yeah, no, I thought I'd stop talking for a moment, but obviously not.
No.
We think we've discovered why Jerry McGovern was let go.
Well, we hope that this is the reason.
Well, we hope that this is the reason.
Because otherwise there's, major HR issues.
Yeah. JLR and Chery Joint have unveiled the first fruits of their Chinese-built joint venture with the new Freelander brand and the Freelander 8. I don't really know where the 8 comes from. I haven't really worked out a way of working that in. And it's a Discovery 5 with a weird squinty bit at the back, and it looks all primed for a Lego model. I think it's flipping hideous, by the way, in case you haven't picked this up. It is planned initially for release in China, but then coming to the UK and other markets at some point.
Late 2027, we're getting it over here.
Yeah.
There will be 2 articles linked in the show notes. There's an auto car that's talking about the Freelander 8, and then there is a EV powered that talks about how it's definitely coming to the UK.
In the meantime, actually what's been unveiled isn't the final version. That's hopefully a relief. But it's a production intent design. It does have door handles and it does have reasonable sized mirrors. I imagine that headlamp detailings and some other little widgety bits and pieces are all that separates this from release.
Yeah, they've taken a couple of elements from the original Freelander, like the triangular last quarter light in the boot space.
Yeah.
Which is recognizable.
Which came from the 3-door, not the 5-door.
Yeah, but the back end, if you look purely at the side perspective, I'm seeing the back end reminds me of that Aztec thing from America.
Oh, the Pontiac Aztec. Oh, that's quite grim. I thought you were going to say it reminded you of a Cullinan with someone that's sort of stuck on the missing bit.
No,
yeah, or that Mercedes one. Yeah, no, oh. All right, now I've seen it, I can't unsee it. Yeah.
But the front end is just blunt. There's very little to recommend about this. It's a lot of metal. I know it's going to be electric, isn't it? Obviously, the size of the metal up the side is due to the amount of battery they've got to squeeze in, etc., etc. But there's very little Freelander in this, as we would recognize it. It's got I love how they've got the LiDAR on the top above the window, so you're all going to look at it and go, why doesn't it say taxi?
Taxi, yeah.
Like the EX90s did.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen at least one EX90 with the taxi module.
Yeah, it just looks so grim. it's an SUV that have 8 elements of the JLR back catalogue is how it comes across to me. If you covered up the Freelander name, that could have been from anyone.
If this just said Cheery on it, I'd believe it was one of those ones, a bit like that, whoever it was that made the Evoque alike. Like that. I really hope that the thing is, let's be positive here, it's going to be more reliable than original Freelander. I think we can pretty much say that, despite the fact that it has much more technology. I'm really hoping that this is one of those times when Chinese construction techniques and experience really sort of push the quality on a JLR product. It does have twin-chamber air suspension, a limited slip electronic differential, and an all-terrain function that can read changes in the road surface and automatically engage the appropriate drive mode. So there is still plenty to go wrong with it. Fingers crossed it's much nicer in real life, and we haven't been lynched by JLR by then.
They don't listen, they don't care. Okay, I am now going to move us on to BMW, and I'm sorry, everyone, it doesn't get any better. And the BMW 7 Series has had an facelift. It's not enough of a facelift, but as my colleague pointed out to me before the show, he said it's better than the original. However, the bar was so incredibly low that still doesn't get it anywhere near acceptable, let alone good or nice. It is just a shocking bit of design all the way through the car.
If it's good enough for the king, the front is an improvement, the back actually is worse. I'm just going to make sure I get these words in before he speaks over me.
The problem is, though, that they are totally constrained with the engineering and the underpinnings. They have decided that they want a massive amount of range of 452 miles, which you can understand in something like this. We've got car companies still trying to pretend that an EV is equivalent to an internal combustion engine vehicle. And as the technology stands, they are not. It's just that simple. They are not equivalent because they are constrained by range. And to get over the range issue, whether that's a valid constraint or not that's a different argument for a different thing. But what people expect today is a car that, stupidly does 800, 700 miles. And to try and get near that with batteries, they have to put bigger and bigger batteries, which makes the car bigger, which makes them taller. And then we have what we have here with the i7 and like we have with the Freelander, huge swathes of metal to house that and the occupants in. They cut down on the glass to try and minimize how tall these things are, but that's just where we are. And it's a very depressing time for most car design at the moment because of the engineering constraints these people are being put under.
112.5 kilowatt hour battery. Wonder how long I could run my house for on that. Probably quite a long time, actually. Have you seen the steering wheel? It's got an awful steering wheel as well. It looks like it has 4 spokes, but it doesn't. It's actually only got 2 vertical ones. And they've got rid of the normal instrument binnacle, and there is now the
full width one that's going to kill people.
Full width one,
great. With distraction.
Up at the very top.
Wonderful. Oh, God.
We are merging new class with luxury. This car is all about presence, said Max Missoni, BMW's lead designer for luxury models. The grille stands proud and the eyes are focused. It's so big you can't take your eyes off it. And yeah, we know it's ugly, and ugly equals presence these days.
It's just really depressing.
You can get 700 interior material combinations, including leather, metal, and crystal glass, and 500 exterior color combinations. You can also spec it in a 2-tone finish, which, by the way, the current one can be spec'd in a 2-tone finish because there was an awful burgundy and black one, which is a combination I normally quite like if you're going to have 2-tone. But it was just not good. My nearest BMW dealer. For quite a while, unsurprising. But there we go. It has many powers. It does 0 to 62 in a very short time. And the torques are quite impressive too. There's not just the pure electric i7. There is also the entry-level 750e xDrive that puts out a mere 482 brake horsepower, 516 pound-feet, which is a plug-in hybrid. And again, the M760e, 604 brake horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60, 4.2 seconds.
Just what your chauffeur needs.
I still prefer the E30. Ooh, I'm going to get my numbers wrong now, aren't I? E38, whatever. The nice one, the James Bond 7 Series that my dad had. That was a far nicer looking car, and I'd much rather have one of those in my garage, I'm afraid.
Yep.
Electrical challenges and everything. Last but not least.
Old car dead news.
Old car dead news. GWM is discontinuing the Ora 3 electric hatchback in the UK. The Ora 3 is the one that was the Funky Cat Ora 3 when it was launched before they got rid of the Funky Cat part. It's never done particularly well.
No.
I think you either liked it because it was called a Funky Cat and wanted one, or you went, I could not be seen driving a car called a Funky Cat.
Or seen looking like that.
Or looking like it. It's kind of weird. Remember, it was such a fusion of everything, of Mini Beetle and Fiat 500, the best, and Nissan Leaf, the best of kind of combination, that it was a bit weird.
I know its ADAS was particularly special.
Really? Yeah, we never drove it.
With all the noises that it made and the sensitivity. Yeah, this never sold. It was never really going to sell.
It was a very early Chinese brand into the UK thing.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not really surprised.
No.
There we are. Anyway, the GWM are sort of restructuring their approach to importing to the UK, and they're going to expand its presence with a broader portfolio of electrified vehicles. That means more brands.
Well, that means, Alan, we're into points of interest, and after what was thoroughly depressing new car news, we can now cheer everyone up because points of interest is actually cracking all the way through. First up, we have a lunchtime read from Haggerty, and this is titled Sibling Rivalries, Competing Cars from the Same Designer. And it is actually a lovely article talking about a few designers and the cars that they designed that came out at the same time but from different brands. And there was a bit of education in here for me, but also some I did actually know for a change. So go me. Alan knew them all, obviously.
I did. It hadn't quite twigged with them, no. If this was longer, then it would be a list of the week, but it's not quite long enough to be that.
Yeah, but do click the link in the show notes and learn about BMWs, Mercedes, Alphas, Audis, Fiats, Minis, Jaguars, Rovers, as well as a Triumph Dolomite.
We like the Triumph Dolomite.
We do.
But yes, nice one from Craig Cheatham there.
Yep.
Really good. The list of the week this week is from Classic and Sports Car. And it's 23 space-inspired car names. 23 is plenty, so we can both choose one. Andrew, from this eclectic selection, what have you chosen?
That's a way of putting it. Obviously, there are some Americana in here.
It's quite a lot.
But there are others from the rest of the world. And I've actually changed my mind.
Oh, no.
I'm going to ask, ladies and gentlemen, to go through your slide pack to slide 7, which is, in fact, number 6, the Lotus Europa from 1966 to 75.
I'll give you that.
I nearly picked the next one, but then I sort of felt, well, it's a bit too obvious. However, it is cracking. But this one, it's mad and daft, and there is a Lotus specialist not too many miles from me that I've been past several times, and they've always had 2 or 3 of these sat outside the garage or in the garage being worked on. So they are well known in the region for this. Just great. It's not an Elise. It's not the typical usual Lotus or Loti that one would think of, and I love it. The
thing about the Europa is it's so low. It makes the Elise seem easy to get in and out of. It's 3 foot 7.25 inches, 1,098 mil tall. Quite something. I went for something that was far more obvious and also, yes, obvious. If you turn to slide 20, the number 20 in the list, if you go in reverse, it's actually quicker. I've just managed to get from your 7 to 20 in fewer clicks than that. I have gone for the Mitsubishi Space Wagon. I think they could actually have got one different if they'd gone for the smaller one and gone for the Mitsubishi Space Star, because that's like a doubler. But no, there's the Mitsubishi Space Wagon in here, 1983 to 1991. One of the earliest MPVs.
Yep.
Something that was sold here in the UK. one of those ones that you just do not see them anymore.
No.
The picture here is truly appalling.
It's from public domain, it says.
It's probably, yes, somebody's taken it off Wikipedia, I'm sure. But yes, of one street parked in New Jersey, of all places. I just thought it was cool.
I love the thinking behind the car.
The thinking behind the car was great. And it's got a very, very obvious name. It says Space right there, right in the name.
Yep.
Definitely space inspired.
Good choice.
The other 21 are really good as well. As Andrew said, lots of Americana, but others that you might have forgotten about from European marks as well.
Yep. Do check out the link in the show notes and make your selection. Okay, that means it's now the and finally. And I promised in the introduction that you could find out how you could drive around Japan whilst sat in the Midlands. And the answer is at an exhibition that will be out at the British Motor Museum on the 23rd of May. That's Saturday, the 23rd of May, 2026. There is going to be the UK's first Horizon Experience exhibition. Now, this is Forza Horizon. The latest edition is coming out. So it's Forza Horizon 6. This is a console or online racing game, predominantly around the Xbox and PC, although it is coming to PlayStation 5 later in the year. And you get to basically hoon around in lots of mad stuff that you would never normally get anywhere near. And Japan is the location for this edition. They were in Mexico last time. They were in the UK before that, which was a brilliant version.
Was that the one with Edinburgh in it?
Yeah. This is going to have, obviously, a lot of the iconic Japanese cars. On the exhibition day, which you can book, there will be a link in the show notes to a motoring research article that links to how to get to the British Motor Museum website. You can get tickets to this. And there's going to be a lot of things going on during that day. So there's going to be live music. There's going to be these gaming vans, which is going to have the sim setup so you can race around. Food trucks. So they're trying to really make it a festival experience. There's going to be some drift demonstration by precision stunt driver Tessa Whittock. And it just sounds like it's going to be a hoot. So if you are down there around that date, or if you've got kids as well, they'll love this. Do book your ticket. Do get in there. Alan, what were you saying at the start before we press record about the first 2,000 people? Yeah, tickets can be for the Forza Horizon 6 experience launch can be booked now. The first 2,500 visitors will receive a limited edition Forza Horizon inspired wristband, according to the motoring research article. Excellent. Well, it's good to see the museums doing a more interactive thing like this, and it is hopefully attracting a younger audience as well as some old farts like me who like playing games. I don't think it takes a lot to attract kids to museums, to be honest. But it's good that happens there, and then they go off and, I like gaming, and then off and wander around the museum as well and see some of the cool stuff at the British Motor Museum. Yeah, but that's me, I suppose. I shouldn't tar everyone else with the same brush. No, it's a good point, though. It's a gateway to get them in where people might not have gone in before. They're there anyway, so why not go over? And then they find out, actually, it is good fun. But on the other hand, if you're playing Forza Horizon, you probably have a passing interest in cars anyway. Yeah. So it's a nice... It twins together nicely anyway. Yes, there's great synergy. That's the word that I was definitely not using. No, because you're not being paid. No, exactly. Anything else? Points of interest, just a reminder, there was the special edition out last Friday for the BYD launch of the Sea Lion 5 DM-I. You should be able to find that on YouTube, but also in your podcast app if it hasn't automatically downloaded for you. Definitely goes to YouTube Music. I listen to it on YouTube Music in the car. Sweet. Yeah. Do we want to mention just an early hint that we're doing a thing? Okay. I'm talking about the thing at the start of June, not the thing in July. Possibly. Possibly. Our lives are so busy. We have so many things to discuss. Yes, we really enjoyed the Q&A session last time. Many of you seem to enjoy the Q&A session last time. Many of you seem to go, we missed this, because we were a little bit uncertain about it, so we didn't publicize it very well. Who, us? Never. Us not publicize stuff that we're doing. Who would have thought of it? In just under a month's time, on Thursday, the 4th of June, we're going to do it again, 8 o'clock. This is just the first call. We will actually publicize more now that we know that the format vaguely works.
But we will need your questions. We will need your thoughts. And please, for goodness sakes, not one. I'm going to try and keep them away from Andrew for as long as possible so that he doesn't essentially write an essay like he did last time. I'm going to try to anyway. If you start thinking about that, and then submit them via all the various ways to get in touch with us, just as before.
Yep.
I figure I limited it too much when I first announced how to get in touch with us, because then everybody used other means anyway. But it was cracking.
Yep.
Quite like to do another one. And so we're trying to give you notice as well, which is unlike us.
I know.
Those are the parish notes done, I think, finally. Okay, good. Which means don't forget that between now and next week, you can give us any feedback and share your thoughts for the show at motoringpodcast.com on Blue Sky, at motoringpodcast on Instagram and Facebook, and on the contact page of www.motoringpodcast.com, a hub of all our activities. Remember, you can support us financially via Patreon, and please leave a review and rating on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or however your podcast app lets you do such a thing. Andrew, in the meantime, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Best way to get in touch with me is if you search for Crack Windscreen on Blue Sky. I'm also on LinkedIn under my name. And Alan, if people would like to get in touch with you personally, what's the best way for them to do that?
Blue Sky and LinkedIn under the same fashion as him. Blue Sky, where I'm at AJP Bradley, that's BRADLEY.bsky.social. Andrew threw me earlier on today by posting a story, and I was scrolling through the feed, and I thought, I wonder if Andrew's seen that story. And then realised it was him that had posted it. So I was like, oh, all right. We'll be back soon. But until then, I've been Alan Bradley.
I've been Andrew Clues.
And safe motoring.